bishop versus knight, and the knight side also has this pawn. Now there are two situations. One is where bishop will lose, and one is where bishop will draw. So in this case, this check uh, draws for white, and this check loses for white. Now let's see why bishop h4 is losing for white. Let's give this check. The king goes here, and after king e7, trying to bring the king closer, we play knight here. And now the threat is knight g3, so that the pawn will promote and knight will cover the square controlled by the bishop. And so bishop goes to e1, and now knight goes to here. And this is why this move is trying to swing here to control these two squares. And so knight goes here, and king tries to attack, then knight goes here, bishop is attacked, bishop will go here, and king will play h3. And all these four squares are controlled by the king and the knight. And this is why the bishop diagonal needs to be 5 squares or higher, and this is why this position is losing. Now the bishop has to retreat, otherwise it will white will lose the bishop and the pawn will push. And so this is the losing one. And let's look at the draw. Now let's look at the drawing move, which is bishop to c5, and king goes here. King won't go to g2 this time, because we need the knight to stay here to block the bishop, and so that's why king needs to be here instead of on g2. And so king goes here, and now bishop goes to g1. This is the drawing move. And if you don't play bishop to g1, if you play this, then knight gives a check, and after bishop comes closer, you can just block the bishop. And so bishop g1 is very important. And now let's see after king c8. After this move, we first play knight to d1, and if bishop goes here, we play knight f2, and if king comes closer, we have king here, bishop goes here, and knight to g4. And if bishop here, you can just go here, bishop goes here. If bishop goes here, then we have this, bishop goes here, we have this, and this is the same position as earlier. So that's why bishop will go here, and after this bishop goes back, and we play this move. And if king comes closer, we just do this, and this is just lost again. So that's why we need to not move the king from here, and we need to play where is the pawn? Okay, this is the pawn. We need to play bishop to g1 instead of getting the king closer. And now after this, we go knight d1, and after king comes closer, now we can play this, and now bishop goes here before the king attacks, so that we kind of play prophylaxis to. And now after this, now we can go bishop e5, and now this is a draw. Now because after knight g4, we can play this, and there is no further if you go here, then we do the same thing again. So this here, this, and then bishop g1 again. And if this let's say that if knight f2 is played, then we go back here again. And so this is the pattern for the white to draw the game with the bishop. And yeah, that's all. Rook pawns are the most difficult to defend as white, because the diagonals are usually very small. For example, this is the only diagonal, and it's not very easy to get there. And so this position is actually very interesting, how to draw this game, and it is very tricky and hard to find unless you know the moves, and I have analyzed it earlier. So let's see this position. So first bishop will go here, and now pawn is attacked, so pawn will push to h2, bishop gives a check, king slides up, and now the black is threatening to play knight g2, and this is very hard to find for white. White goes bishop h1, and you might wonder why is he just giving up the bishop. So king takes, and now we play king f2. We don't let the king get out of these in front of the pawn, so otherwise the king will promote. And so let's say this move. Now we shouldn't take the knight. If we take the knight, this king just goes here and promotes the pawn. And so after knight goes here, we play king f1. Maintaining the control over these two squares is very important, otherwise the king will just promote the pawn. So knight goes here, we play here, knight gives this check, we go here, knight gives this check, we go here, and so this is a draw. Right, so this is why the rook pawn is very tricky, and it is possible to draw this, but it's very hard. Like finding bishop g1 is in this position is like very, very tough, and it's not very natural move because you're just giving up a bishop, but it is the move that draws the game. And so yeah, so this is a similar position, a similar scenario with the rook pawn and the knight, but in this case the king is a bit far away from the promotion square, and here this is a win for black with perfect play. So let's see how black can win. So now knight goes here, trying to block the bishop, so bishop goes to a1 so that it won't be blocked, and now knight goes to b2, and in this situation, after knight goes to b2, king plays here. Now you can't go and grab the bishop. Let's see why. King goes here, grabs the bishop, and king goes here. And after knight check, this is a similar scenario where the king keeps repeating and doesn't allow the black king out of the promotion square. But if we go knight king c2, now this is a win for black because black plays knight d3, and this is a zugzwang, so white can't go here because the knight is controlling it, so white has to take, and the king gets out and promotes. So that's why king to d1 is after taking, king goes to c1, and so this is a draw, and that's why you can't take the bishop right away. After king c1, king e1, so after this move, knight goes to a4 and king goes to e2. Now king goes to c1, and after this we play knight e5, and now after this we go to take the bishop. Now king goes here, king can't go here because this is a fork, and so king goes here, Now knight goes to d3 and king goes to d2, knight goes to b2, king goes to c3, and now we take the bishop, because once the king goes here we play the same move, knight d3, and king has to take, this is a zugzwang, and then black wins by promoting. So this was the position in which black wins, because the king is far away from the promotion square. So yeah, that's how this position is played.